Hey everyone, so our goal now with text structures is to take what we've learned from our notes and start applying it to reading passages. Now I know I had some small practices with each of your notes and then the practice that came after, but now I want to actually model for you what I expect you to do every time you are reading a nonfiction passage and looking for text structures. So here we have 10 short passages. I'm going to go over 5 of them in this video, talk about what I want to see, talk about what I want you to do, talk about how I want you to approach each passage, and then you're going to try 5 on your own, and then I'm going to check over those 5 for you. And then we're going to move into our mastery check. So when we look here at analyzing text structures, the first thing we want to do is read the passage, and then after we read the passage, ask ourselves, what was the purpose? Now, in an ideal world, we could just read the passage, identify the signal words, and then write out the purpose. But we don't always know what the signal words are because we don't know necessarily what the purpose is until we've read it. And sometimes it can be one or the other, and we want to make sure we can narrow that down, and that's where the signal words will come into play. So as we read, be thinking to yourself, what is the purpose of this passage? So in our first one here, before Europeans came to North America, many bald eagles graced the sky. As settlers moved west, they destroyed the eagle's natural habitat. Egg collectors and pesticides almost wiped out the bald eagle population. As a result, about 30 years ago, the federal government passed laws to protect the eagles. Today, more than 7,678 pairs of bald eagles live in the lower United States. Now, as I look at this, pause my video, but I automatically am drawn to 2 possible text structures, 2 reasons why an author wrote this, okay? I don't see the author trying to describe anything about the eagles. I don't see him or her going into the sequential events of a eagle's life or any of those things. I don't see the eagle being compared to anything else. Now, I do see a cause and effect relationship, and because I see that, I also you could start to make the argument for a problem and solution. So then you want to look now, do we see cause and effect signal words, or do we see problem and solution signal words? And there are really only a few in this one, but it's enough for me to really pinpoint it. And there's our first one, and there's our second one. And the other thing here too is there's not really like when we ask why did the author write this, the author isn't showing us a problem that we need to solve. The author is showing us an event that occurred and the relationship between those 2 events. And that's your purpose for writing cause and effect, is to show the relationship, right? The relationship between, or like the cause and effect relationship between this and that. And the cause and effect relationship is how, like, the author is showing us how Europeans affected the eagle population of North America and what the government did as a result. Okay. That's it. There's no solution here. It's just that cause and effect relationship between those 2 things. And there you go. Okay. Now, as we move forward, here's our next passage. Oh, and as you saw, I want us highlighting our signal words, and I want us writing out the reasoning why the author did this. And if you look here, right, this is twofold. One, it helps you understand the text structure for this assignment right here, but it also is so vital and so important when we're looking for the main idea. I cannot stress enough how hard identifying main idea is as a skill. It is very, very difficult. But if you can identify the text structure, then you can use that text structure to then explain the main idea. Because if it's a compare and contrast, then the main idea, the purpose, the reason, the main idea, I'm comparing 2 things. Here, I'm showing a cause and effect relationship, so on and so forth. And we'll get more into that the more we practice, but again, it's just so important. I know there are times where we don't want to do that extra step, but it's necessary. All right, we got to put in the work. We have to start putting in the work when it comes to these reading passages and our responses. So our second one, rainbows appear when sunlight passes through raindrops in the sky. As the light passes through, it is broken up into 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Rainbows normally appear from the rain, but they can happen wherever light is being bent inside of water droplets. Rainbows can be seen in mist, fog, spray, and dew. Rainbows are actually circles, but they look like arches when we view them from the ground. And so as I read this one, there's only one thing that comes to mind, and that is just automatically the author wants to inform us about rainbows. Okay. And when it comes to description, you're not always going to have it just jump off the page and give you signal words. Instead, when it comes to informing us, we are informing through a variety of different ways. Like we show characteristics, we show attributes, we show factors, and so not factors, features. I'm losing my mind. We show features, we show attributes, we show characteristics. And so here you have all of those things, right? The characteristics, the features, the attributes of rainbows. I'm going into the detail of showing this. And wants to inform us. I thought I wrote us in there. That's my bad on that typo. And so here we would have the descriptive type of text structure. And it's that simple, but I need us highlighting and I need us writing out the main idea or the purpose of this passage. Number 3, astronomers claim that a star begins as a cloud of hydrogen and helium. As the cloud moves about, it collects bits of dust and more floating gas. Then, the cloud begins to warm as more dust and gases are pulled into it. After a long period of time, as the cloud becomes denser, heat and friction cause the atoms to explode. That is how a star is born. So again, when I read this one, it just jumps right off the page. The author wants to inform us the process a star goes through. A star must go through to form. Okay. And so there's a bunch of signal words, right? There's then, there's after, and then I thought there was one other one. Am I missing it? Oh, I know where it is. It's right here. Begins. Okay. And those are your sequential or chronological. Now, sometimes with this, you'll get dates. Sometimes you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4. Nevertheless, this is very similar to descriptive, but instead of describing the characteristics, the attributes, the features, and here we're actually describing the steps it took to make something, the process something goes through, the history of something. It's still informing, still explaining in a way, but it's a different way of informing. It's a different way of explaining. So we have 2 more, and we can already guess. Like I'm going to give all 5 examples. So here we have arguably the easiest type of text structure because the signal words are always just so apparent. So here, both crocodiles and alligators look like large and intimidating reptiles. Although they are different animals, they share a number of similarities, including long snouts, powerful tails, short legs, and bony plated backs. The main difference between the two is that a crocodile has a narrow snout that comes to a point at the tip, and the 4th lower tooth is always visible even when the crocodile's mouth is closed. An alligator, on the other hand, has a broad, blunt snout. Another difference is color. If the reptile is gray or black, then it is most likely a gator. However, if you see one that is olive or tan, you're most likely looking at a crocodile. So here we have 2 separate animals. Both are very similar. So the author is showing us the relationship between crocodiles and alligators. And that's what we would want to have there for compare and contrast. And here you highlight, again, there's so many when it comes to compare and contrast. Again, this is why I think compare and contrast is always one of the easiest ones to identify because the signal words are just so very obvious. Like on the other hand, I mean, I could literally highlight in every single sentence. There's just there's something that is just showing us, oh, this is compare and contrast. No duh. We're looking at the relationship between 2 different things. Now, almost always speaking, when you do compare and contrast, you do want it to be things that are similar. right? You don't want, I think I said this in the notes, but you don't want to compare, a superhero to a jar of peanut butter. It just, like, it'd be an interesting article if you could find similarities between the two of them, but I just feel like it would be a difficult task. So we want to highlight, compare, and contrast here. And again, we're making sure we're highlighting all the signal words that I highlight, and we're also writing these main ideas right here after it says, how is this paragraph organized, okay? Our last one, before you all go off on your own for 6 through 10. Both humans and beavers change their surroundings to suit their needs, and from time to time, these needs may come into conflict. For example, property owners may experience unwanted flooding due to nearby beaver activity. When conflicts like this arise, it's better to seek long-range solutions instead of the rash temporary ones. Destroying the beavers that are causing the issue is cruel and pointless. Doing so just creates vacant territory for a new beaver to move in, eventually leading to the same problem. Many property owners find success with water flow devices, which prevent issues from flooding caused by beaver dams. With this type of system, pipe system devices control the water level in a beaver pond. This device offers a long-term solution for homeowners while allowing beavers to continue maintaining precious wetlands. So like number one, this one jumps out as two possibilities, but then you really narrow it down. And this is where this is where I was seeing the mistakes that we were making. We were just saying cause and effect instead of problem and solution, and vice versa. We want to make sure that we are identifying this as problem and solution, because there are so many signal words that are pointing to there being a problem, but then we also provide the solution to that problem. We have words like solutions, like conflict, like issue. I did not get to do a good job of highlighting issue there. We have all of these words that are really going through. Oh, down here, the prevent. Right, we want to prevent these things. Okay, long-term solution for homeowners. Okay. This article explains, explains the conflict that beavers and humans sometimes have, and provides solutions to to overcome this problem, these issues. Something along those lines. Okay, and then obviously you would highlight this one as problem, and I messed up on the typing there, so solutions to overcome this problem, these issues. And so that's essentially, in a nutshell, what you want to look at. Now, I know this was a longer video, but I really had to go through and I wanted to talk about each one of these. Now, these are shorter passages. We're going to take a mastery check after you complete 6 through 10, and then we want to work on these longer passages. Now, these longer passages, I'm going to have, obviously you can see it tells you what each one is. That's this week. And then next week, we're going to go into passages similar to this, but without me telling you what that is. And then ideally, we're ready for a quiz or the test if possible. Okay, so right now we're going to do 6 through 10. And then I'm going to come over and check 6 through 10, review back through this. Make sure you're highlighting both the answer choice, obviously, and any signal words you see. Reference back to your notes for the signal words if you need to, because that's what it's there for. Also reference back to your notes for the purpose. And just remember, above all else, no matter what, that this album right here, Folklore, is better than Evermore. This album right here. Okay, just as so we're all crystal clear. No, that was just for a few students in one of my bells. But really, really remember that you are looking for the purpose of these text structures, and that's what you want to do first. You look for the purpose to find the text structure. If you can find the purpose, you can find the text structure. Again, I'm sorry for the length of this video. I don't like them to be this long, but it needed to happen because I wanted to go through each one of these in detail. Hopefully this is going to help if anyone is struggling in any situation with what to do on each of these passages. All right. Have a good one, everyone.